Welcome back to The Acceptance Project, a podcast about being human, even when emotions run a little closer to the surface. I'm your host, Bryan. Have you ever searched for your Christmas spirit and thought, where are you, Christmas? Why can't I find you? And no, I'm not going to sing the song from How the Grinch Stole Christmas so you can relax, at least for now. Instead, I want to talk about that question so many of us quietly ask this time of year. When did Christmas start feeling less like warmth and wonder and more like pressure, comparison, and scrolling through everyone else's highlight reel? In this episode, I'm taking you back with me to a little farm in the Appalachian Mountains, to crooked Christmas trees that leaned in the window, church plays with bathrobes for wise men costumes, brown paper bags filled with oranges and candy, and snow so heavy it made the trees bow down as if to give thanks. We are going to look at how the holiday got so commercial and what it might look like to find Christmas again in smaller moments, simpler traditions, and the people right in front of us. So if you've ever looked around in December and thought, where are you, Christmas? Why can't I find you? This episode is for you. So grab a hot chocolate, that favorite hoodie or throw, the ones you should have probably washed by now but haven't, and let's spend a few minutes together. So picture a little farm tucked in the Appalachian Mountains where winter didn't just arrive, it settled in like an old friend who was planning to stay for a while. I remember the first big snow of the season. It came in quiet and steady like a whispered secret, giving you just enough time to rush out and grab that last loaf of bread and gallon of milk before the world turned white. By morning, the trees along the hillsides were heavy with it, their branches bending low, soft white arches reaching toward the ground as if bowing in gratitude to the season. To a kid, it looked like the whole forest had decided to pray. The air itself felt different, crisp and clean, carrying the faint scent of wood smoke from a distant chimney. You could almost taste the anticipation of Christmas in every breath. At night, when the lights came on, that's when the real magic happened. We didn't have those perfectly choreographed light shows set to music. No. Ours were strings of colored bulbs that flickered when the wind decided to dance with the trees, held together by extension cords that would probably give an electrician a nervous twitch. And if you've ever hung Christmas lights, then you know what happens when one goes out. Say it with me, they all go out. But somehow, under a fresh layer of snow, those lights glowed softer, like they were exhaling. The snow swallowed every sound, and the quietness wrapped itself around the valley, so deep and still you felt like you were standing inside a living Christmas card, a secret world just for us. It wasn't about perfection. It was about the simple, undeniable warmth they cast in the silent winter night. Holidays in the mountains felt like you were living a Norman Rockwell scene. Lots of food, laughter, family, friends, and of course, that anticipation of Santa. Now, if you drove down our road in those days, you would see something in every window that might make even Clark Griswold jealous. Not because they were grand, just because they were real. You wouldn't find those perfectly bushy, symmetrical trees like the ones in the magazines. Nope, our Christmas tree leaned a little. They had bald spots. You could see where someone had trimmed the bottom with more enthusiasm than skill, leaving a few stray needles on the floor. There might be 3 ornaments clustered on one overachieving branch, glittering brightly, and absolutely nothing on the other side, leaving a quiet green space. But those imperfect Christmas trees stood proudly in our windows, each one a testament to our efforts, wrapped in shimmering tinsel and countless memories. They weren't perfect, but they were ours, and in their delightful quirks and honest differences, they were, well, at least to us, the most beautiful trees in the world, glowing warmly against the snowy night. And of course, those church plays. Who could ever forget those infamous church plays? Church at Christmas was a whole world of its own. I remember the Christmas plays where Mary would forget her line, Joseph's sneakers peeked out from under his robe, and one of the shepherds, without fail, always picked his nose on stage. The wise men wore towels on their heads, secured by whatever mom could find in a pinch, which was usually a rubber band that left a red mark on their forehead. And every year it seemed the plastic baby Jesus would either roll right out of the manger or mysteriously vanish just before showtime, sending half the church on a frantic nativity search and rescue mission. The music was a joyful mix of slightly off-key choirs and that one person who clearly thought "Oh Holy Night" was their moment to audition for American Idol. The laughter. The laughter came in warm waves during chaotic rehearsals, missing shepherds who were running around playing, and in those moments when nothing went quite as planned, and yet somehow everything felt just right. And the food. There was always so much food. Tables groaned under the weight of casseroles, pies, cookies, and that one mysterious dish no one could identify, but everyone politely sampled. We had enough sugar to keep Santa's belly shaking like a bowl of jelly well into the new year, and a warmth in our bellies that lasted even longer. For many of us, Christmas used to be simple like that. It was about friends, family, and love that felt as comforting as a well-worn quilt. I remember the small brown paper bag from church, a treasure in itself, holding an orange, a crisp apple, a few pieces of candy, and a handful of nuts. Each item felt like a precious gift. We went sledding on hills that, in our memories, grew steeper every year, our worn-out boots kicking up snow. We built snowmen with crooked smiles and made snow angels that left us soaked and frozen, but grinning from ear to ear, our cheeks bright red from the cold. And my mom? Well, she always made us eat a big bowl of cream of wheat before we went outside to play in the snow because, she insisted, that'll keep you warm. I'm still not sure if there was any science behind that, but if Mom said it, then you knew it had to be the truth. It was sort of like Mom licking her finger to wipe a smudge off your face. Unscientific maybe, but Mom's saliva had more antibacterial life-saving ingredients than any hand sanitizer. She was always right. Now, somewhere along the way, Christmas took a turn. Started feeling less like a holy day and more like a competition. We unconsciously turned into the perfect opportunity to become the new Joneses. Who has the biggest tree, the most coordinated decorations, the fanciest gift, the most Instagram-worthy holiday moment? We scrolled through social media watching others whisk off to faraway places, skiing daring slopes, hiking through foreign countries, sipping warm drinks in front of roaring fireplaces beside trees that looked like they were decorated by a professional design team. And if we're not careful, we start to feel a subtle ache, a sense that we're falling short, and we begin to shrink inside of our own lives, comparing our reality to someone else's curated fantasy. During this holiday season, it's real easy to beat ourselves up. We see car commercials where one spouse buys the other a brand new vehicle, gleaming in the driveway, complete with a giant red bow. We scroll past families in matching pajamas, wrapping paper flying in slow motion, everyone laughing with their perfect teeth and perfect lighting, their joy seemingly effortless. We see couples on exotic vacations taking sunset photos from balconies that cost more per night than our first car. And then, there we are. In our living room, maybe with a tree that leans slightly to the left, a few burned out bulbs casting a shadow, and a beloved couch that has definitely seen better days. And in the quiet of that familiar space, a subtle pang of, is this enough? Might settle in, as our own authentic moments stand beside the flawless images flashing across our screens. But what if we paused, just for a moment, and truly reminded ourselves, are we surrounded by family and friends we love? Whether they are right here in the room, a voice on the phone, or a cherished memory in our hearts. Do we have enough food to nourish us? Do we have shelter that keeps us out of the cold, offering warmth and safety? Do we have love in all its messy, imperfect, and wonderfully authentic forms? Because if we can answer yes to these questions, or even, well, I'm working on it, then we are already rich with the true spirit of the season. We hold the most precious gifts right here in our real, imperfect lives. The Christmas play was never flawless. An angel's halo slipping sideways, a shepherd whispering his forgotten line, but no one minded. The joy was the point, and everyone knew it. Families filled the pews shoulder to shoulder, whispering, smiling, sharing smiles, tears, and what we always called church candy. That's the Christmas I carry with me, not just a memory, but something stitched into my soul. A reminder that the season was never about perfection. It was about showing up and being there. About the glow of silver and gold tinsel, the sound of old carols sung from the heart, and the faces gathered around a tree, whether that tree stood tall or leaned a little, whether it was full or a bit sparse, because what mattered most was simply that it was showered in love and light. So in a world constantly urging us to do more, buy more, and be more, how do we truly slow down, relax, and savor the holidays without getting swallowed up by the toxic commercialization of what should be a season of peace and genuine connection? Let me offer 4 simple ways, not as rules, but as gentle invitations, lessons I've learned and felt deeply woven right into those cherished Appalachian memories. First, give yourself permission to have a smaller Christmas. Not smaller in meaning, but smaller in pressure. Smaller plans, a lighter budget, and gently adjusted expectations. Instead of instinctively asking, what can I buy to make this special? Try asking, what can I share? Maybe a story from your heart, a song with genuine feeling, a handwritten note that truly connects, or, my favorite, a plate of cookies that might be slightly overbaked but are certainly filled with love. When I think back to my childhood Christmases, I don't remember the price tags. I remember the way the snow looked on the trees, the church echoing with laughter, and the simple joy of that tiny brown paper bag of fruit and candy. Even to this day, I still love those red strawberry candies you find at the bottom of your mom's purse or tucked away in a beautiful candy dish on your grandmother's coffee table. A burst of sweet, unexpected delight. Often, it's the smallest, most authentic things that settle deepest into our hearts and become our most cherished memories. Second, bring back simple rituals. Not elaborate productions that add to your to-do list, but small, repeatable moments that gently anchor you amidst the holiday rush. Maybe it's turning off all the lights except the twinkling tree, or sitting in comfortable silence for 5 minutes, just breathing. Maybe it's reading the Christmas story, or a favorite childhood book out loud, letting the words fill the room. Maybe it's just listening to that same scratchy old Christmas album that skips on track 3, but still makes your heart swell with nostalgia. My sister and I had the Chipmunks Christmas album, and it was always a tradition to sing along with Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. We also had a much-loved tradition of watching Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and if you haven't seen that, you're missing out. 50 years later, and I'm still watching this puppet Christmas program. Or maybe just take a simple walk in the crisp cold, noticing the way the air feels in your lungs, awakening your senses. These simple rituals, these intentional pauses, are powerful reminders that the true magic of the season was never for sale in the shopping mall. It was always found in the quiet, shared, and deeply personal moments. Now third, let's practice gratitude in real time. This isn't just about making a list on paper. It's about speaking it out loud, right there in the room, letting the words hang in the air. Look at the people around you, your family, your friends, and tell them specifically what you appreciate. Tell your friend, I'm thankful for your laugh that spreads faster than a glitter bomb during a first grade art project. Tell your child, I'm proud of your kind heart, the way you care for others. Tell your partner, I'm glad we're in this together, through all the messy, beautiful, and even the hard days. When you sit down to eat, truly notice the warmth of the food on your plate and consider the hands that prepared it, the journey it took to reach you. Gratitude, when actively practiced, has a remarkable power. It pulls your attention away from what you think you are missing and gently but firmly brings it back to the abundant blessings that are right in front of you. A grateful heart doesn't pretend life is easy. It simply remembers that there is still beauty worth holding on to. Fourth, set boundaries with the things that steal your joy. This is about conscious protection of your peace. Maybe that means intentionally spending less time scrolling through social media or tuning out those relentless commercials that make you feel inadequate. Maybe it's politely but firmly stepping away from conversations that inevitably turn Christmas into a game of who has more or whose holiday was grander. You're absolutely allowed to say, quietly or even out loud, that is not how I measure my holiday. You are allowed to mute the external voices that tell you that you are behind or that your life doesn't sparkle enough. Instead, listen for the quiet, unwavering truth that has been there, deep within you. Since those serene Appalachian winters, you are enough, just as you are. Your Christmas does not have to look like anyone else's to be real, to be rich in meaning, and to be truly holy. When we slow down this way, we begin to remember what that old green grouchy Grinch on the mountain eventually figured out. The Grinch taught us that maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe it really does mean a little bit more. The Grinch, full of bitterness and envy, was convinced that if he could just take the decorations away, the gifts, the feast, he could take away Christmas itself. But when he heard the Who's in Whoville singing anyway, with or without all the stuff, something profound shifted within him. His heart grew 3 sizes that day, and so can ours. So, this Christmas, when you feel that old familiar tug of comparison, when you catch yourself thinking everyone else is doing better than me, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and picture those Appalachian hills. See the trees bending under the weight of the snow, like old porch rockers leaning in close to listen, holding the hush of winter with the gentleness of their branches. See the gentle glow of imperfect lights under a fresh white blanket. See the crooked tree in the farmhouse window decorated with nothing but love and a little bad tinsel. Hear the echoes of laughter from the church. Close your eyes and listen to the sounds of family talking, laughing, sharing food, and tuck that memory away in your long-term memory for down the road when you need a reminder of home. Then, ask yourself the only questions that truly matter. Am I giving and receiving love in whatever way I can? Am I present, even in my seemingly imperfect life, with the people I care about? Am I willing to let this season be about more than just stuff? I hope this sleigh ride down memory lane has brought back some memories for you, even if you didn't grow up in those amazing Appalachian Mountains, but on that street where you still felt the love of others. I hope this Christmas is filled with the things of the past that kept you staring out the window, hoping for a glimpse of a sleigh and tiny reindeer. And I hope you will allow yourself to just laugh and take in the moment of these imperfect holiday traditions that we all have. Christmas in our hearts isn't about the tree that leans a little, the number of gifts beneath it, or the shine of the wrapping paper. It's about the quiet, courageous choice to love where we are, with what we have, and with who is around that tree. It's the courage to sing when the season feels heavy, to share when we feel small, and to remember that kindness is the greatest gift we will ever give or receive. Christmas in our hearts sounds like genuine laughter in a crowded kitchen. It feels like a hug that lingers a second longer, and looks like a table where there's always room for one more chair. It is the memory of snow-covered hills, crooked trees and farmhouse windows, church plays, and brown paper bags of fruit and candy. When Christmas truly lives in our hearts, it is no longer just a date on the calendar or a commercial on a screen. It becomes a way of seeing the world, a way of treating people, and a gentle, enduring promise that love, in the end, is what makes every season holy. If you've enjoyed this episode, I invite you to share it with others, and please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us wherever it is you listen to podcasts. Also, I'd love to hear from you. If you have a thought or a comment or an idea for a future episode, send me an email at podcast@bridgingsuccess.com. And just remember, if you're searching for Christmas this year, don't look down the road. Look in your hands, look in your heart. Then leave a little light behind you for someone else to find. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of one another, and Merry Christmas. The Acceptance Project is a production of Bridging Success, LLC. To learn more about the podcast and our work, please visit bridgingsuccess.com. This podcast and its content are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. I'm Dr. Bryan Gross, but I'm not a licensed therapist. The topics and opinions shared by me and any guests are our own and should not replace professional or medical advice. If you are seeking mental health support, medical guidance, or help with personal matters, please reach out to a licensed professional who can provide the individual support you need.